Today's workout, you're going to be focusing on spine articulation, and I'll go through what that means, why it's important to do that, and what happens when we don't really focus on our spine mobility and flexibility. So what you're going to need for this is a reformer. You don't have to have the Allegro 2 I have here, but we will use it. You don't need the tower component, but I will be using it. Most reformers have what's called risers for the cords right here, which you can use instead of the tower component. So spine articulation just really means the ability to control your spine in a wave-like motion, vertebra by vertebra. So your spine is a series of joints all stacked together. And by moving your body like a wave, going into flexion, going into extension, and really moving each joint individually takes a lot of body control. It's not easy to do. So today I want to orient you in different positions to practice that and get that into your body. And remember, what I teach you in this class today, you can use in future classes. You can use maybe at home if you're doing your mat work by yourself. So think about that as we go along today. We're going to start in a 4-point position on your reformer. So just go ahead and take your foot bar down. Let's come to a 4-point here. And you don't need any heavy spring tension yet. Just keep the bed steady. So I'll go ahead and add 2 red that I already have. From this position, come to a 4-point. Bring your hands on your platform and your knees right underneath your hips. Release your toes if you can. And what I want you to think about first is this is truly a 4-point. So getting your limbs organized is really important. Hands are spread wide underneath your shoulders. So let me show you what it just looks like for a normal cat-cow, what we end up doing in all of our classes. It's basically a round, forced round, and whipping back for extension and kind of losing the arms. To really think about that spine, what we're going to do is first ground through the arms, okay? Make that nice neutral spine. Push through the arms and the hands. Now, what I want to do is tuck my tail and tuck my head first for a normal cat-cow, where I really scoop and I round right here. I'm thinking about effort between my shoulder blades spreading apart. And as I inhale, I pull my shoulders down my back and I start to roll into this extension. So it's the head and tail, okay? Just so you understand where we're going with this. Let's go 2 more like that. It's an exhale to roll through. Flexion. And an inhale to come through extension. And last one. We go slow. And we start to slowly lengthen back. Excellent. So that basic movement, we're going to be going in a wave-like motion next. So right here, we come back to our nice neutral spine. We feel ourselves here. There is some firm push through the arms. So what I want to think about first is, can I just tuck my chin under? Just that part of my spine, so my cervical spine. Then I'm going to try to round through my upper back. So I'm going like a wave through the upper back. Now I go into the lower lumbar and finally that tail. So now I'm in my nice big cat position. From here, what I'm going to do is start to slowly release through my lumbar spine into extension first. It's really difficult to do that without moving the rest of the body through the middle spine, through the upper spine, and finally the cervical spine here. So now we're back at our starting position. So just like a wave, start with the cervical. We roll the chin down. We start to push into the active arms, rounding like a cat, scooping all the way through. The last part is going to be that lumbar tucking and tail. And then undulating through, we extend that lower part of our body, segment by segment, all the way. And we come through, long arms, right here. Okay, let's do one more like that. We go with the head first. We push through the upper body. That's a tricky spot. We start to roll through. Last part is the tail. And then we undulate with that tail going back sequentially, just like a wave, all the way through. And finally the head. Okay, so that's how you can sequentially practice that. Now for some of you, you might feel really sticky in that lumbar area, really sticky in the upper back. Take your time. Think of those areas that you're trying to work on as using some effort, right? So when I tuck into this flex position, I might be tight in my low back, but I want to use my core and then rolling through. So think of like this wave that's going on back there. All right, nice job. Next up, we're going to be going through a bridge position, and this is again a different orientation of spine articulation. I want you to have a flat head rest. You're going to be lifting your bar to normal height, and then you can add a couple more springs just to keep your carriage still. So here we are on our back. I've got my feet hip distance apart, and just to kind of show you with contrast of what a normal bridge looks like without articulating, it's lifting up and kind of losing it and lowering down like that. So to think of the wave starting from the pelvis rolling through the spine, it's a whole different concept. Let's go arms long, feet pushing down into the bar. Tuck your pelvis, that's the bottom of the wave. Start to roll and peel your spine up and hold at the top. So there's some effort through the arms right here. There's some squeeze in the glutes. Now I've got to roll my upper spine first. Start to slowly come down each segment. And you might feel like there's this space that's really hard and stiff. It's kind of fixed. Go slow and release. It gets better with each one. So you're increasing this body control. You're also increasing the mobility, right? The active, available strength and mobility in and around your body as you articulate your spine. And then focusing on these little segments as they come down, touch down on the mat. Let's go 2 more like that. It feels really good. You're able to get a little bit more of this kind of release in that lower spine. Adding some of that touching down, melting, and replacing. Let's do 1 more together. Rolling up. So having the feet elevated does help this, right? The hips get a little higher in the air, and we start to roll slowly all the way to the mat. So again, we're moving in sequence, right? 1 little part at a time, sequentially all the way down to the tail. Go ahead and hold the knees in towards your chest, and we're going to change positions next. So I've lightened my spring load to 1 red. What you're going to do is turn around, and now we're going to practice a C curve, sequentially seated from the pelvis down through the lower spine. Now think of this as a controlled position because you have the help of your straps right here. So I'm going to choke up on this. So if we're in a C-curve position, what people can do when they often skip it, just to give you an example and some contrast, is that they just kind of hold on to the hip flexors. There's a lot of gripping in here, and they come down and up like that, right? So it's not a lot of focus on that lower lumbar, initiating with that first. So you want to think about this initial tuck of the tail, there's the pelvis, and then start to really gain space in that lumbar spine as you roll back. That's the hard part. So even right here, it's hard to tuck the pelvis and then start to roll it through. It takes a lot of practice, but it's really good to really cue in for that segmental spine movement. My arms are long, and I'm thinking of how much control I can provide my spine. So as I start to do this, I roll with my pelvis first. I initiate with that. I roll down, I go slow. This is the part that's sticky for everybody, that lower lumbar. We start to roll carefully, and here we are. Now, in essence, I could come all the way back on a mat surface, right? But I'm going to pause here for today and roll all the way back up through that position, all the way to the very top of my sit bones, and hold. So think about that initial rock and roll is going to be your pelvis. So there's a lot of, thinking about this. It's not just rolling back and dropping down and focusing on squeezing that core. It's a lot of that movement behind the body. Rolling slow. All the way up. And rolling down with that pelvis coming back and back and back. And rolling up. And this orientation is helpful to feel the front of our body support our spine. So as we roll back, there's a lot of this initial flexion going on through the spine, and rolling all the way to the top. Very nice. All right, so now we're going to be going into an orientation facing the end of the reformer. Now I'm going to be using my tower. You can use your risers at home if you have a reformer. Knees are coming up against the shoulder blocks. Just so you know, you'll be in an overhand position like this, and I want you to have your spine long to begin, okay? Let's go ahead and come here, knees up against the blocks. I'm going to have to get there using my arms on the side. And if you are on the risers, you're pretty much at this level, which is fine. I'm just going to go a little bit higher, no big deal. From this position, I bring the carriage back, and I'm in this nice overhead hang position. So let your shoulders come up by your ears, make it all about your spine, and then think about the cat-cow, that segmental cat-cow. So pull your ribs in, start with your tail, go slow, tucking under, rolling through the spine, through the upper spine, and you're right here, tucking your head, tucking your tail. Now, to let go of that, I go with the lower part first for this orientation. I start to bring it back. I undulate through extension. I go all the way through the upper spine. I lift the tail and I hold it. And then I go ahead and do it again. Tail first. So notice you're going to have this really beautiful stretch in that lower lumbar. Really good stretch. All of this right through here. It's so sticky for a lot of us. And start to slowly bring it back and through. So you get a little bit of traction as you go through this movement. And repeat that. Rolling, scooping. Feels so good. And then extending. Nice and slow. So it's just like that wave motion in a different way. Feels so good to add that mobility, that flexibility, without compromising the movement. Good. Let's do one more together. Here we go. We start to slowly round, scooping, scooping, and extending everything back. Nice job. To come out of it, slowly bring your body all the way and in, and then just pause for a moment here when you come in. All right, next we're moving on to short spine. So I do want you to have a flat headrest. Adding a red, we have a red and a blue. Come on down to your back. Make sure that your straps are available. So rolling all the way down here, I'm going to grab each of my foot straps, place them into my feet. And if you're not familiar with short spine, it is a loaded flexion exercise. So we will be getting a lot of this articulation and control on the way down. Make sure that you feel safe with this, and if you have any disc issues, make sure that you check with your doctor first. Here we go. We're going to go into heels together, frog position, pushing out. Now here I'm going to start to hinge my body just to the point that my tail stays down. Now all the tension I currently have, I start to roll using that lumbar, right? All the way to the top right here, hold it. You're going to come into an upside down frog. Keep your heels together. Knees are here. Now go slow. This is that spine wave we did earlier. We go upper, we go middle, we go slow through the lumbar. We find the hinge right here, and then we start again. So we can go pushing out to 90, past 90, and lifting up, bending down, and work on your wave. Go slow. You have all this support system going on through the back, all the way, hinging back, pushing out, lifting up. It's such a nice way to finish a class with short spine because it takes so much concentration. It's broken up into segments, and then rolling the spine is super amazing. It feels great after your session. Let's go one more together. We start to slowly come up. Slowly rise and pushing into the straps, bending down, and slowly returning. Woo. Woo! Excellent job. Thank you so much for watching this video for the spine articulation and different orientations on the Pilates equipment. If you guys have questions or comments regarding the exercises we did today, make sure that you drop them in the box below. And if you're someone who is seeking to invest in a reformer for your home or your studio or any Pilates equipment really from Balanced Body, you can go ahead and click on the links below as well as a description for phone orders using my full name for a 5% discount through Balanced Body. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you are seeking a full body program and you would like more instruction, make sure to check out the link below. The program I have is called Foundations. I'll take you through beginner, intermediate, and advanced exercises from Pilates mat work, resistance training, and mobility. Now, if you want to feel stronger in your body, more connected, being able to move and access your mobility, and feel more stable and balanced, make sure you check out that program. You can literally do it anywhere.